and welcome back to part 5 of Devil May Cry 2 Lucia's story. Not only is this the penultimate part of this story, it's the penultimate part of this game, so enjoy it. We're nearly out of here. We can nearly go on to better, more enjoyable experiences. But we've got this extremely painfully lengthy mission that we had back in Dante's story as well, where there's 4 switches hidden around that you got to find and deal with to get into hell, because obviously 4 switches around a city is how we get into hell now, not some elaborate thing involving elixirs, mirrors, stones and all sorts of other magicry, but whatever. The secret mission 9 is going to be right there, so it's easy to find, so you don't have to worry about wandering around a very dark, bleak, misty city with terrible render distance for ages trying to find the right door. It's literally right next to you when you start, as we get beat up by blood goats. But we're nearly there, guys. We're nearly there. Because we've got this, the mission that was also the same as Dante, where when the portal to hell opens, you have to do a stupid little time trial thing, where you have to kill the enemies in a set amount of time. It's also the same way you'll be getting the chrono hearts if you want to use the time stops. If you want to go, you have to do the same thing in both stories to get it. Then after that is another mission that's very, very similar, but has slight moderations and things like that, different from Dante's story, which is climbing the hell tower, Arius' hell tower, from the bottom to the top. And then after that's the final boss, because it ends on mission 13 with Lucia, so we are right near the end. We've got 4 missions left if you count this one. There we go. And this one I am just straight up following a walkthrough to find them all, because fuck trying to actually find some of them. Look, there's always, on both stories, there's 2 that are obvious and 2 that are really annoying that you are just going to walk past and end up circling the whole city trying to find. And the abyss goats aren't going to come down to the surface, so they're going to be a pain in the ass. It doesn't help that Lucia's other weaponry are all kind of shit for aerial combat. Well, no, her second weapon, the little kunais, they're terrible regardless. They're just not fun. They're just not working. They're not useful in any way, shape or form. The cranky bombs only work if they're on the ground and not moving fast, and the bowgun you can only use in the dreaded underwater sections. And this guy's going to take forever to kill. Or, you know, don't counteract a very simple kick to the head constantly. There's 1. We have a demon world slowly intensifying. You need 3 more powers in order to reach the demon world. There isn't another secret room in this mission, so you don't have to worry about that. The last one's 2 missions from now, when we're climbing the hell tower again. Fucking hell, this frame rate. If the frame rate is consistent, it just has random points where it just stops. The frame rate itself remains at 60, but it just randomly stops for some stupid reason. Ugh. Are we there yet? I'm only going back this way because I know new enemies spawned, and I'm at least trying to make some kind of effort to not run past enemies for the sake of it unless I've already fought them. It's what I've tried to do for the whole of this. It's only... Oh great, pizza cutters. Oh, I wish I didn't bother now. I haven't done too bad in running away from enemies. Like, I haven't done it unless I really, really can't be fucked, or like I just kill all the enemies and they respawn, or it's infinitely respawning, like that one part in Dante's story. I think it was like part 2 or 3. Oi oi oi. But the good thing is that there's only one part after this, and then we're done. So I want this game done before E3. So if they are going to announce DMC5, this is all done and out the way still. I don't have to worry about this lingering over whilst I'm hyped for DMC5. And I know what I'm going to do next. Like, originally I knew exactly what I was going to do next. There's this one particular game that I wanted to do, and I still very much want to do it, but there's a different game that's kind of shorter that I want to cover whilst it's still fresh on my mind that I'll be doing after this. And then after that one, I'll do the one I originally intended to do after this one, if that all makes sense. Then after I've done those two, we'll see. Because I'm trying to decide myself how much time is enough time before covering DMC3 on the channel. Because I've done both 1 and 2 back to back, keep in mind, so I'm a little tired out of it right now, personally. I want to give DMC a break before I go into my favourite one, so I can really appreciate and highlight to you guys just how much of a love letter 3 was at the time, and how it managed to get everything perfectly and expand on everything 1 did, instead of doing whatever the hell 2 decided to do. I could do some other smaller games as well to pass the time, like just to make up space and whatnot. Like, say DMC5 is announced and it says, oh, coming out in December, then I'll see if I can try and organise it so DMC3 like the Let's Play comes out and then finishes like just before 5's release, just so I can have, so then I can double up Let's Playing 3 whilst having a good Devil May Cry game fresh on my mind before 5 comes out. Assuming it gets announced. If it doesn't, then whatever, we'll just work something out. But bloody well better, because if it's going to be announced, it's going to be at Sony's conference. But Sony's conference, if you're living in the UK, starts at 2 AM, which means I will be watching it all live, because I'm not missing it if it is DMC5, from 2 AM all the way until it's either announced or the stream finishes, which will probably be like an hour and a half, 2 hours past it. And if it does get announced, well, I'm probably not going to sleep the rest of the night, because I'll be extremely excited that the thing I've been waiting for over a decade is actually coming to reality. I would say it's sort of like how the Kingdom Hearts fans have been waiting since KH2 to KH3. But the difference is that the KH fans at least had a bunch of spin-offs that expanded on the lore and story in between releases. DMC just hit a brick wall and stops after 4 for no good reason, other than getting some team who don't know what they're doing on it to make a crappy reboot. I'm sorry, Ninja Theory just... I've played the reboot and I had very mixed feelings about it, but I still think it's weaker than the main series. But I've also played Hellblade, and Hellblade kind of wound me up, because similar to the new God of War, a lot of people were eating it up and praising it and saying it's like the best thing ever, when it's like, congratulations, you talked to a bunch of people who suffered psychosis to get it accurate, but you talked to no one about how to design a fucking game, because it's not fun to play at all. There's no good replayability. It's just a really boring, really zoomed up, really janky controlled shitty game that's just not fun to play. And it's like, congratulations guys, you managed to fuck up the gameplay twice. You guys really don't know how to make a video game. But that's entirely the gameplay. The story's perfectly fine, and what they try and do with all the psychosis and stuff like that, not as accurate as they like to tell themselves are about it. I think they got a bit of an ego about how they handled it, but it's still a very fine and solid attempt to cover it. I'm not going to say I know what it's like, because I've never suffered it and probably never will. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, they got it all wrong. But you can tell from a mile away they're doing it with an ego. They're doing it with the mentality that they think they know everything, which got under my skin quite a bit. And oh, another blue orb, neat. Ugh. Which got under my skin. It's why I liked Celeste so much, because Celeste covers anxiety and depression, but without the bloody ego. They're very real with it and very honest. And they don't try and say this is it. They kind of make out it's like, okay, this is just an interpretation of it. This is just what we see it as. And they don't have some magical, oh, the hero manages to overcome all their hardships. In Celeste, Madeline doesn't. She doesn't at all. She just learns to accept it exists. She learns to realise it's a part of her, not that it's just some big darkness she can't overcome. She learns to accept that it's just a part of her life, whether she can or can't overcome it. which I liked because it's a lot more realistic. Growing as a person, if you're suffering anxiety and depression, usually the first step is recognizing it. If you're not recognizing it, you're probably not going to get much further with it. You're never going to start to try and learn through it or adapt or do anything with it, whether you're going to pull yourself together at some point or not, because some people never do and they just find a way to live through life anyway. Whilst the psychosis thing with Hellblade just felt very much, we know what we're talking about, this is psychosis, and it just felt like they had an ego about it, and it just I didn't particularly get sold on it, if I'm honest. We've got more guys over here to deal with. It's the exact same level, they just moved around the fragments and whatnot. Like, this is like, come on guys, you're gonna do 2 stories, make it 2 stories. Why has every single Devil May Cry game in the series got a point where you go back to a previous area you've already done for some reason or another? Like, there's a part of me with 5 comes around that hopes that they don't do that, but there's also a part of me just because of keeping up with consistency that they do kind of do that in 5. Whether it's just a one-off joke or something, but just to have a slight reason to return to a previous area. There's a part of me that would just sort of be like, oh, they could have put something new there, but at the same time I'd be like, yeah, every other game in the series has done it. The only one that didn't was the reboot, which is genuine credit I can give to the reboot, that they never once reused areas. They were constantly trying to think of new areas to use and mess with. Yeah, not all of them hit the mark, but it's the fact that they never reused anything that I'm giving the compliment. Not that they were brilliant, because some of them really were not, but it did something different with that, so I can at least give it the credit for that. God damn it, there's so many of these guys. I think that kind of gets on the most good of Savage Golems, is that, like, firstly, the auto lock is a pain in the fucking dick, as you can see here. And when you're trying to deal with more than one, because they're just going to run away. And look, you see, look, I was looking, the aimer was on them, and the moment I went to shoot, Lucia turned on the spot and aimed at the other one. This is why the Savage Golem, if there's more than one Savage Golems, it can be annoying, I've learned. Because it's just like, if you get them to a weakened state, they run away, and the auto lock decides to work with them instead of work with you. And so they get to regenerate us because they've ran away. Wow, that, I dodged that? Huh. It's dead. Is there anything actually over here whilst I'm here? Oh, Zambak! Finally, the blunt weapon. High striking power, yeah. I don't mind if it's short range if it hits like a truck. That just looks better on Lucia. And the way the weapon looks on her looks a bit more accurate to a devil trigger. If it's like attached to the back of her arm, it looks more like. Oh, fucking hell. Because that's one thing, once I'm done with DMC2, knowing that I will never have to deal with the pizza cutter fuckwits again. Because, hey! And if it's, I wouldn't mind them so much if it wasn't for the fact the game doesn't have what 3 and 4 has, with the whole, if they're off camera, they won't bother attacking you. But to my surprise, the original Dead Space games had that as well. I never noticed it because I always looked at the enemies, like the necromorphs and whatnot that I was fighting. I think that's what they're called. No, I think they're like xenomorphs, I can't remember. No, I think they might be necromorphs. Anyway, those guys, I always looked at them, so when I found out that in Dead Space 1 and 2, if you turned away, they would actually slightly pacify, like in the DMC games. I was actually really impressed by it. I don't know about 3, but then I don't think anyone cares, because it's 3. It's the one that was completely ruined and like shoved down the ground because EA do what EA does best and ruin fucking everything. And then shut down the company, blaming them instead of owning up to their own mistakes or shoving their own bullshit down its throat. No, seriously, EA's one of the biggest companies I hate. EA, Activision and Bethesda, those 3 companies I just have no respect for. Ubisoft I used to have a lot of issues with, but they've developed a heart. Whether it's because they got kicked down to rock bottom again, well, not rock bottom, but they definitely haven't had the highest streak in the past few years. They've definitely had a few flops, so I think they've sort of had to get their heads out their asses and pull themselves together. So, and they've learned to sort of admit it and crack on. So I give them some credit for that. Whilst EA is just a business suit looking for whatever way they can to get new money out of you, fucking putting laws in place against loot boxes harms innovation. Fuck off, you piece of shit. The ESA backed that up as well. It's almost like the people you put money into are going to agree with you suddenly. Activision is just manipulation. Let's give the opponent a really cool badass gun, so when you fight them you want that gun, and so we'll try and buy it. And then Bethesda is just always fucking lying to the audience. Which, like after the Prey incident, like that Prey reboot that came out the other year, the reason why it got a reboot after just one game is because they fucking tore to shreds the company who was making a sequel, because they wanted it, and they wanted that game, and the company that was making it didn't want to give it up. They wanted to release it, and so Bethesda, instead of walking away nicely and giving a damn, tore them down piece by piece through criticism and restricting budgets and whatnot, to the point they had nothing left. So they just gave up the license, but took everything they had and left, saying fuck you Bethesda, for ruining us just because you wanted our game. That's why there was a reboot just for the one, because they suddenly had a license that they had to do something with, because they ruined a company for the fucking sake of it. And then there's the whole fiasco of trying to get paid mods out of Valve, and then when Valve turned them down, they fucking decided to do it anyway and just lie to our faces and say no, it's a creation club. Fuck off, that's paid mods. And then there's the fact that instead of really being innovative, they re-release all their old games into literally fucking everything and charge full price. Like Skyrim Special Edition, yeah, I know it's cool to have it on PS4 and Xbox and whatnot, but it's just the same game just with mods on it on console. It didn't need to be 50 quid again. It's the same game from 2012. It didn't need mods again. They shouldn't have... What? No, they shouldn't have been 50 quid. No, you lower the price, it's an old game. Oh, and then of course there's the recent thing where like we've got a new announcement that makes like Fallout related, and it's like, oh boy, I can't wait for you to make a new Fallout game that's going to further dumb down the RPG mechanics of the originals. The reason why people go to fucking Fallout. Fallout 4 was like, to say it was disappointing was an understatement. That game was just not fun. It's like, okay, I'm just playing a first-person shooter in a bland open world. Where's all the RPG mechanics that, invented the series, that put it on the bloody map? Like, it was bad enough that Fallout 3 ditched a bunch of them. Like, I had hope because Obsidian kind of painted the path with it with New Vegas and put in all those RPG mechanics and highlighted to the world, and well, especially Bethesda, this is what people want, because people sucked it up and ate it. And then what do they do? Oh, their new settlement needs your help. Yeah, fuck off, Bethesda. And the thing is, a lot of my annoyance towards Bethesda isn't even towards Bethesda, some of it's towards the player base. Like, any game that has even remote partnership with Bethesda, suddenly Bethesda made it. The player base acts like, which really wound me up when it was games like Evil Within 2 or Wolfenstein, where they had literally zero involvement. Well, because I love the Evil Within games. They were developed by Tango Gameworks and published by ZeniMax. ZeniMax is a partner of Bethesda. Suddenly every news outlet is saying, look at Bethesda's new game. It's not Bethesda's new game, you pricks. It's Tango Gameworks, published by ZeniMax. Stop it. Or Wolfenstein, or the guys behind Doom as well. Both of them are developed by teams within ID Software. Because one half of ID do Wolfenstein, the other half do Doom. New game by Bethesda? No, it's ID's game. But I'll let that rant go, because we're back on this stupid mission. We need to get this seal open by hitting it with enemies, which is going to be harder with Lucia, because she doesn't have a straight up stinger, so knocking enemies into it is going to be a bit more annoying, so I doubt we'll be able to hit the timer on it properly. We can try though, you never know. That's going to open up, it's got to put the timer on, and now we've got to try and lure enemies over here to try and get the last heart. Actually, yeah, I've got an idea. If I can... Ah, missed, damn it. I just realised I killed the whole of Phantom without actually paying attention to it. Sorry about that. Shows how easy this game is. I don't even remember doing it. I just know like Phantom appeared whilst I was mid rant, and so just did it. I didn't even think about it. Oops. Oh, there we go. I doubt we're going to have enough time to kill them all, though, because we took quite a while doing that, but I'll give it my all. Let's get this, the last one. I'm pretty sure this is the last one. This is the last time we have to see this little cutscene. Yeah, Chrono Hearts. It's the same one for both. And I believe, yeah, that's all of them. Look, 3 on each. So Lucia gets 1 more overall. And if you're following along on either the PS3, Xbox 360, PS4, Xbone or PC collection, you should now have that trophy for getting all the hearts as Lucia. All the Devil Trigger hearts as Lucia. And my throat goes. Yeah, looking at the time, I don't think we're going to do this in time. If not, I'll just cut until we do get it, but But after this, we've only got the tower and the final boss, so that'll definitely be our next part, our finale. The tower won't take me the whole of one part. We're squeezing in the final boss. More just because I want this game done as well. I don't want to just still be here, like, doing next part and say, oh, sorry, there's still going to be one more. Like, we're getting it done next part regardless. Oh, and it's the Abyss Goats. Yeah, we're not doing this in time. There's still another wave after these guys, I think. And these guys are going to take at least 30 to 40 seconds to kill. Because there's probably another one around as well. Like, there's going to be a third, yeah, I can see it. And then the last wave is probably going to have at least one of these Abyss Goats as well. And it's going to have more of the Demonichorus. Yeah, there's one. There's more of those. Yeah, we're not doing this, and I don't see it. We might do, but I don't see it. Oh, there's 2 of these fuckers. Yeah, yeah, no. Ah. And then another one spawned as well. God damn it. To be fair, I could equip the Chrono Heart and see if it makes a difference, but I'd rather just power through it and get it done. Because to be fair, now I think about it, the Chrono Heart was probably put there solely for people who are struggling with the time limit. And they've added more Demonichoruses as well. Oh boy. That was probably the last one as well. Ah, I was actually kind of close. Well, I'm gonna cut until when I get it, which will probably be the next one, since I don't have to worry about the bloody heart. Well, that wasn't too bad. Let's get out of here. And now end the mission. Yeah, 5 minutes. Yeah, I only had 1 more try afterwards, thankfully, but it's still annoying. Next time on Devil May Cry 2, we're going to enter Arius' Hell Tower to try and find him and wrap up this bloody game. But until then, you guys take care now.